What up, Bucs fans, NFL fans, and betting fans? This is Matt Matera from PewterReport.com for another episode of Pewter Picks and Props. We are in week 13. This is brought to you by PewterReport.com and Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use the promo code Pewter, that's Pewter. Get a first deposit bonus when you play Underdog Fantasy. We're going to talk about the pick'ems today. They also got fun in-season rivalries and, of course, their rivals betting that you can do as well with one team against the other. But we're going to focus on the pick'ems today, starting with player props for Bucs versus Panthers. Also, as you can tell, I'm in a different location, but the picks will still be winners. Let's start with the player props. Starting on the Panthers side of things, I am going with over or higher of 44.5 rushing yards for Chuba Hubbard. Obviously, the big storyline in this game from the Bucs side of things is that no Levante David and no Devin White and Servassier Dennis, their backup inside linebacker that played last week when the Bucs went up against the Colts, and that would be in if only one of those guys was out. He has an illness as well, so he's got a long ways to go before he plays on Sunday. You're missing your top two inside linebackers, even though Devin White stinks at stopping the run. The Bucs run game, stopping game is going to be even worse. You're down to your fourth string inside linebacker, KJ Britt. JJ Russell will probably play as well. 44.5 rushing yards isn't that high. I know the Panthers are a bad team, but I'll take higher on that. Sticking with the Panthers, Bryce Young, I'm going lower on 20 completions. I think he's just struggled a lot this season. They only have Adam Thielen as their answer at wide receiver. So if they're going to be able to run the football, that obviously takes the ball out of Bryce Young's hands. So I'll take lower on 20 completions for the rookie number one overall pick. On the Bucs side of things, I'm sticking at quarterback with Baker Mayfield. I know he's hobbled. I know he has his ups and downs this season. But for Baker Mayfield, I'm going higher on 235.5 passing yards for him. He may be hobbled, but sometimes a wounded animal, they become even more, furious and courageous because they're battling through something. I think Baker wants to right the wrongs of this 6 out of 7 game losing streak stretch that they've been on. He's going to find Mike Evans. Obviously, the Panthers have a better defense when some of their guys get healthy. 235.5 passing yards for Baker. I think you get Mike involved. There's been so much discussion about Chris Godwin that eventually Godwin will get involved in the passing game. Rachaad White didn't have a good game as a receiver last week. I think the Bucs will get back to bumping that up. So a couple screens for Rachaad White. So I'll take higher than 235.5 passing yards for Baker Mayfield. I actually do think the Bucs offense is going to play better this week. They've been able to move the football. They just haven't been able to execute in the red zone, and they've had stupid penalties and bad drops. So if they clean that up just a little bit, I'm not asking it to be perfect, I think they can reach the end zone, which is why I'm taking Chase McLaughlin to hit higher than 2 extra points in the game. I think that's Chuba Hubbard. Damn it. I think Chase McLaughlin, there we go, higher than 2 extra points. Bucs are going to score 3 touchdowns in this game. I truly think, again, it's going to be a little bit similar to that Titans game where the offense was able to control certain things. I think the Bucs are able to put up points. Will their defense be able to handle a crappy offense? Maybe not so much, but I'll take Chase McLaughlin higher than 2 extra points. So one more time, Chuba Hubbard higher than 44.5 rushing yards. Bryce Young lower than 20 completions. Baker Mayfield higher than 235.5 passing yards. And last but not least, Chase McLaughlin higher than 2 extra points. For the game itself, in Bucs versus Panthers, I'm choosing the Bucs to win, but I don't think they're going to cover. There's just nothing that this team has done week in and week out that makes you believe that there's going to be a semblance of a lack of stress or that this game can't come down to the wire. I know the Panthers only have 1 win on the season and they're struggling and they just fired their coach, but sometimes firing a coach gives your team momentum. We saw it with the Raiders a couple of weeks ago. We saw it last season. The Panthers fired their coach 2 weeks later. They beat this Buccaneers team. Sometimes you build that momentum, creating a spark when you fire a coach. While I do think the Bucs are going to win, I think Todd Bowles is going to continue to be on the hot seat. I don't believe that the Bucs pass rush is going to be able to get home against Bryce Young, and they won't be able to stop the run. So Panthers may dink and dunk down the field, but if they're able to run that football, they can do anything against this Bucs defense, who will be missing Jamel Dean once again. So they're a little bit limited in the secondary. And obviously, we talked about the linebackers not being available. So I'm taking the Panthers plus 5.5. I wish it were different, but I'm done believing and trusting in the Bucs to really reach their full potential. Again, I think they'll take steps forward, which is why I'm picking the over of 36.5. I do think the Bucs will be able to score at least 3 touchdowns. That puts 21 points on the board right there. Maybe they kick a couple field goals. I don't think the Bucs defense is going to be perfect by any means. I'm not going to call it a shootout, but 36.5 points is very, very low. I know the Bucs have had some extremely low overs and unders this season, but they were so under heavy early in the season that it's starting to skew the other way. The over hit last week for the Bucs, and let's face it, the Bucs defense has allowed 27 points over the last 2 games. If there's any team that the Panthers would want to get right against, it's facing this Bucs defense. So give me a Panthers plus 5.5 and the over of 36.5. I think that I feel more confident in the over than I do with the Panthers plus 5.5. But those are my picks for the Bucs versus Panthers game. I've been pretty good with my Bucs picks this season, so don't doubt me. Overall, I got a winning record. I don't have the stats in front of me. I'm going a little bit lighter with my rest of the NFL picks this week. Usually I do 5, so it's a total of 7 when you include the Bucs games. This week, I'm only doing 3 NFL picks, so it'll be 5 overall. So we'll be either a winner or a loser this week. But starting out, I got the Chargers -6 against the New England Patriots. Chargers keep a lot of games close, but I mean, the Patriots are so awful. They are a terrible team. I think they're going with Bailey Zappi now. I don't think that's going to make too much of a difference. The Chargers defense has not been good this season, but they got solid pass rushers, and they actually played pretty well against the Ravens. Like, I know the Ravens had that late touchdown at the end of the game, but that Sunday night game between the Chargers and the Ravens was set up entirely by defensive performances on both sides. So if they can shut down the Patriots, which they should be able to, I trust Justin Herbert to put points up on the board because the offense is going to be looking to bounce back a little bit from their performance. So Chargers -6 is the pick. My lock of the week, Dolphins -9.5 against the Washington Commanders. That Commanders defense is abysmal. I mean, they just allowed 45 points to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. The Commanders fired their defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio. I don't think that's going to make too much of a difference. They traded away all of their guys. They have no pieces on defense, and the Dolphins score at will. Their last game was against the Jets on Black Friday. Jets have a great defense, and they were still able to move the ball fairly well against the Jets. But granted, the Jets don't move the ball at all on offense. So when you get 30 tries in a game, you're going to score some points. Dolphins offense is extremely exciting to watch. So I'll take them -9.5 against a terrible Commanders defense. My last pick of the week, Browns-Rams. I'm taking the under of 39.5. Simply put, the Browns have a fantastic defense, but they have a ton of issues at quarterback. Joe Flacco is going to be their starter this week because Deshaun Watson's out for the year. And Robinson, the guy that played at UCLA, he's in concussion protocol, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think the Browns are going to score many points, and their defense is elite, that they're going to keep the Rams from scoring too much. This isn't the Rams offense from 2021 when they won the Super Bowl. Matt Stafford's still a really good quarterback. They got Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. 39.5 is relatively low. But one side of the ball isn't going to be scoring. Either the Browns are going to completely shut down the Rams, and Joe Flacco will do enough for the Browns offense to win a low-scoring game, Or maybe the Rams put up some points and the Browns just do absolutely nothing on the offensive side of the football. So I really like the under of 39.5. So one last time, all of my picks, Chuba Hubbard got higher on the rushing yards, Bryce Young lower on the completions, Baker Mayfield higher on 235.5 passing yards, Chase McLaughlin higher than 2 extra points. I have the Panthers plus 5.5, plus the over of 36.5. And then in the NFL, Chargers -6, Dolphins -9.5, and Browns Rams under 39.5. Those are my picks for this week. Make sure you go to pewterreport.com. Follow us on all of our social media on X, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. We are at Pewter Report and Pewter Report TV. Please like and subscribe. Leave a comment as well. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Use the promo code Pewter, Pewter. Get a first deposit bonus when you play over at Underdog Fantasy. And of course, if you want to follow me on my social media, you can see it in the corner there. It's at Matty for the underscore Matera, Matera. If you want to follow me on Instagram as well, it's the same thing. Just take out the number 4. So it's Matty underscore Matera over at IG. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Love the Pewter people. Love the gambling fans. Good luck, and let's win some money this week.